All right, there's not going to be a whole lot of talking after the first part of the video, and it's going to be kind of an experiment today, not the no talking part. But you've all been pretty receptive to my series on pragmatic swordsmanship, specifically pragmatic EI, the drawing of the sword. And based on the excellent input, the conversations I've been having with you all, I'm going to try something. Now, we can call this physical therapy, we can call it occupational therapy, we can also call it an experiment on whether an old guy like me can maybe learn to do something new. All right, what am I talking about? Well, one of the things I mentioned specifically is due to my injury, well, first of all, limited use of thumb, but my wrist doesn't bend very far. So in doing conventional drawing of the sword, I'm a bit restricted in what would be one of the most common draws, which would be drawing the sword, at least starting with the sword more horizontal edge upward, which is included in many traditional forms of swordsmanship. Now, the technique I wanted to look at today for comparison, I've covered in other videos, both on pragmatic EI and the safety concerns of Iaido, specifically drawing into that rising one-handed cut, okay? That slash out of the draw, and how risky it could be. So adding yet another caveat to my list of caveats, don't try what you're about to see at home. I am in no way what anyone would call an expert, all right? So, I'm going to try it two different ways. First, I'm going to draw, well, kind of the way I'm restricted to, turning my sword to the side prematurely, drawing and cutting, and hopefully you can see the difference. I'm also not going to use a whole lot of sayabiki as if my weapon is very secure to my body. Now, I am using a looser canvas belt today, and I'm not terribly fond of it because it feels sloppy. If I don't have my hand on the sword, I do prefer a firmer mounting, but for this experiment, it's kind of key. So I'm going to draw a couple of times into the cut from the horizontal, and then I'm going to use a little bit more sayabiki, but what I'm going to try to do, again, I can't really move my wrist properly, but I'm going to try to do the draw where about 2/3 or more of the weapon comes out with the edge up, and then the left hand, as part of the sayabiki, turns it for me, and I can continue the cut from there. All right. I've had binding issues with this, and one of the biggest things I've got with it is that, yeah, my wrist doesn't bend like that. So what I'm going to have to do, again, physical therapy, occupational therapy, is see if I can grip the sword the way I can grip the sword, and then use finger strength and the left hand to rotate it into a functional grip so I don't lose control of this. So, risky. But I think it's worthwhile. What I want you guys to do is I'm going to do this with several different swords. So I'm going to separate it that way. I'm going to do each draw twice. I'm going to cut out the boring part so it flows a little bit quicker. And see if you can see differences not just between the two techniques in terms of how they look. I'm not going to push the speed. I'm not going to take too many risks. I'm going to put what I feel is an equal amount of quickness into each draw without overdoing it. Now, also want you to hear the sound that the sword makes, because one of the things I've described in other videos is, depending on the scabbard and the blade, as I'm drawing the sword, there is slide against the side of the scabbard, and each of my swords makes what I call a different song, anywhere from a rattle to a swing. And you might hear a difference in the two different kinds of draws. But with the different swords and the different techniques, let me know what you see and a little bit about what you hear, and then we'll get our conversation going again. All right. Here we go. Alright, I survived. No Gojuro were harmed in the making of this video. My initial impressions are I'm still getting more momentum out of the side draw into the side cut. But again, I've spent a lot of time with it. However, I'm pretty impressed with how quickly I'm adapting to the other technique. And it feels like the draw is quicker and sharper. Also, definitely different body mechanics. Let me know what you guys saw. So I'm going to keep with it. I'm going to keep practicing, trying experiments with different combinations, not just the draw into the upward cut, but I'm going to try some of the other combos I've showed you in previous videos in terms of drawing into different cuts, thrusts, and parries. And let's see what I can do with this. So to be continued. Let's get the conversation going. As usual, thanks for watching. See you next time.